the heart of a dense, fog-shrouded forest, there stood a secluded cabin beside a seemingly serene lake. The locals whispered tales of its haunting past, stories that kept even the bravest adventurers at bay. The cabin was notorious for its eerie ambience, and the lake, they said, was cursed. Rumors told of the previous inhabitants, the Thompson family, who mysteriously vanished without a trace decades ago. They were last seen heading to the cabin for a summer getaway, hoping to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. The townspeople searched tirelessly, but the family was never found. The cabin was left abandoned, consumed by the surrounding wilderness. Years later, a group of thrill-seekers, drawn by the tales of the cursed cabin, decided to unravel its mysteries. Led by the fearless Sarah, the group included her brother, Mark, and their friends, Emily and Jake. They were determined to spend a night at the cabin and document their experience. As they approached their destination, the once clear sky darkened, and an ominous fog enveloped the forest. The air grew colder, and an unsettling silence fell upon them. The cabin, now in sight, stood eerily against the backdrop of the lake, its dilapidated structure testifying to years of neglect. Undeterred, the group pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets of the cursed cabin. They set up their cameras and began exploring the cabin's interior, which was surprisingly intact despite its outward appearance. The furniture was covered in a thick layer of dust, and old family photos adorned the walls, creating a haunting atmosphere. As night fell, strange occurrences began to unfold. Whispered voices echoed through the cabin, and shadowy figures were seen flitting in the corners of their eyes. The group was on edge, but their curiosity outweighed their fear. Determined to communicate with the spirits, they conducted a seance in the living room. The air grew tense as they called out to the spirits, asking for a sign of their presence. Suddenly, the candles flickered, and the room plunged into darkness. A chilling gust of wind swept through the cabin, extinguishing the candles. Panicked, the group fumbled to relight the candles, and when they did, they found a message scrawled on the wall in a language none of them recognized. Baffled, they took a photo of the message, hoping to decipher it later. The night wore on, and the group decided to explore the lake, drawn by an inexplicable force. As they reached the water's edge, they noticed strange ripples in the lake, as if something was moving beneath the surface. Without warning, ghostly figures emerged from the water, their forms translucent and ethereal. They were the Thompson family, their eyes filled with sorrow and pain. They beckoned to the group, their voices whispering of a dark force that held them captive beneath the lake. Terrified, the group retreated to the cabin, but the spirits followed, pleading for their help. They revealed that they were trapped in a limbo between worlds, cursed by an ancient entity that resided in the depths of the lake. The entity, angered by the intrusion, rose from the lake, its form monstrous and terrifying. It declared that the group must choose one among them to join the Thompson family in their underwater prison, or they would all perish. The air grew tense as the group realized the gravity of their situation. They had unwittingly disturbed a dark and powerful force, and now they had to face the consequences. In a moment of bravery, Mark stepped forward, offering himself as the sacrifice. He believed that his choice would save his friends and free the Thompson family from their curse. As Mark approached the lake, the entity's form grew more monstrous, its eyes filled with malevolence. With a final glance at his sister and friends, Mark plunged into the lake, disappearing beneath the surface. The lake became calm once again, and the Thompson family spirits faded away, their expressions grateful. The entity, satisfied with the sacrifice, retreated to the depths of the lake, leaving the group in stunned silence. They left the cabin, shaken by the night's events, and returned to the town, where they shared their story. The locals were skeptical, but the photo of the mysterious message caught the attention of an elderly historian. Upon seeing the photo, the historian grew pale, recognizing the ancient language. He revealed that the message was a warning, a prophecy that foretold the return of the dark entity, stronger and more powerful than before. Shocked, the group realized that their ordeal was far from over. They had unknowingly unleashed a dark force upon the world, and its wrath was yet to be felt. In the days that followed their harrowing experience at the cursed cabin, Sarah, Emily, and Jake struggled to come to terms with the loss of Mark and the reality of the dark entity they had encountered. The town was abuzz with rumors and disbelief as the group shared their story, and the photo of the mysterious message circulated among the curious and the skeptical alike. Sarah, feeling a deep sense of responsibility for her brother's sacrifice, became obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the ancient prophecy. She pored over old texts and historical records, determined to decipher the message and put an end to the dark entity's reign. As she delved deeper into her research, Sarah discovered that the dark entity was an ancient water spirit, once worshipped by a forgotten civilization that had lived by the lake. The spirit had been appeased through offerings and rituals, but as the civilization dwindled and eventually vanished, the spirit grew vengeful, cursing the lake and any who dared to approach it. Realizing that Mark's sacrifice had only temporarily satiated the entity, Sarah knew she had to find a way to banish the spirit forever. With the help of the elderly historian and her remaining friends, she uncovered the lost rituals of the ancient civilization and prepared to confront the dark entity. Armed with knowledge and determination, the group returned to the cursed cabin, ready to face the dark spirit and put an end to the curse. As they approached the lake, the air grew tense and the water began to ripple ominously. Undeterred, Sarah began reciting the ancient incantations, her voice steady and resolute. The dark entity emerged from the lake, its form more terrifying than before, enraged by their audacity to challenge it. The water of the lake began to churn violently as the entity unleashed its fury, attempting to thwart their efforts. The group held their ground, continuing the ritual as the cabin shook and the wind howled around them. Just as it seemed the entity's power was too great to overcome, the lake suddenly calmed, and the entity's form dissipated, vanishing into the night. The group, exhausted but relieved, believed they had succeeded in banishing the dark spirit. However, as they turned to leave, a chilling voice echoed through the forest, whispering of revenge and dark days to come. The group realized with horror that the entity was not truly gone. It had merely retreated, biding its time until it could rise again, stronger and more vengeful than before. In the following weeks, strange occurrences plagued the town, and the lake's waters turned dark and murky. The townspeople lived in fear, realizing that the curse of the cabin had spread, and they were now at the mercy of the dark entity. Sarah, racked with guilt and desperation, knew she had to find a way to stop the entity once and for all. As she delved further into her research, she uncovered a chilling revelation. The entity had bound its existence to the lake itself, drawing power from its waters. Realizing that the only way to banish the entity was to destroy its source of power, Sarah faced a heartbreaking decision. To save the town and put an end to the curse, she would have to sacrifice the lake, the very place her brother had given his life to protect. With heavy hearts, the group formulated a plan to drain the lake, knowing it was their only chance to banish the dark entity forever. As the waters receded, the entity fought back, unleashing storms and tempests upon the town. But the group pressed on, determined to finish what they started. Finally, as the last of the lake's waters disappeared, the entity's cries of rage and despair echoed through the night, and then all was silent. The town was saved, but the cost was great. The lake, once a place of beauty and tranquility, was now a barren wasteland, a stark reminder of the dark forces that had once resided beneath its surface. Sarah and her friends were hailed as heroes, but the victory was bittersweet. They had lost Mark and the lake, and the scars of their ordeal would remain with them forever. As the years passed, the story of the cursed cabin and the dark entity became a legend, a chilling tale told around campfires and in hushed whispers. The cabin itself, now devoid of its dark presence, stood abandoned, a relic of a bygone era. But as the final page of the story is turned, a chilling revelation comes to light. Deep within the barren lake bed, where the waters once flowed, an ancient symbol is revealed, identical to the one in the mysterious message. The dark entity was not truly gone. It had merely transformed, lying in wait for the day it could rise again. And as the story ends, the realization dawns that the curse of the cabin by the lake is far from over, and the dark days are yet to come. The entity's revenge is imminent, and its wrath will be felt by all.